everybody, welcome back to another crochet vlog, and I don't remember what part we're on now. We're on chapter 20. Yeah, there's 27 chapters in the epilogue, by the way. Not 24. I don't know where I kept thinking it was 24, 25 chapters. Kind of remotely close. I don't know. Boom. Hopefully everybody's having a good week. Happy Tuesday. I actually have some exciting news. That is not 100% confirmed, but hopefully will be confirmed next week. But last week I kind of got an unexpected offer for a internship. To get started on that, I do have to have one for my major at my college, and I got an offer for essentially a part-time gig that would contribute to that greatly. So I had a little, I guess if you could call it a 5-minute interview today. I handed in my resume and the paperwork for it and all that, and they said they'd call me next week. So it would be working at a plant nursery and also running their gift shop and chatting with people and customers and helping them with plants and whatnot. And I would still keep my retail gig. Hopefully I can make both work. If not, I'll let the retail gig go because internship is more important. I'll just feel exceptionally guilty, but that's okay. Yeah, so, so feels kind of surreal to say that, but essentially I might be working 2 part-time jobs this summer, which is good, because I'm gonna need it for Tennessee. Oh, gosh, yeah. Anyway, that's my exciting news for the week. So, yeah. As for what we are doing, we are still working on that project that I have not done a lot of work on, but I'm gonna have to get my butt into gear because it is due in 19 days. If you're watching this on the day that it's released, 20 days from when I'm recording it. Yeah. I still have to make something else too. Crap. Oh, man. Anyway. But let's jump into it, shall we? So, previously on Lost in Time, and I do apologize, by the way, for that background noise. It's my air purifier because the air is really, really bad here, allergies-wise, so I don't like turning it off, because, we kind of need it. So, yeah, sorry about that. Oh, right. Okay, so previously, Eli entered a memory, and she found out the dark, dirty little secret, not so little, of the Montanets and the Deeds, of Vivian and Samuel and Charlotte. Vivian and Samuel had a little sister, Sammy. And she was just a 5-year-old little girl wanting to play, and her parents everybody was busy one day, and her siblings didn't want to play. They wanted to play with their friends. They, were a little older, and they didn't want to play. And so, Vivian and Charlotte, well, really, Vivian, she did the good old go and hide trick and never went to go find her sister. Her sister went out of bounds and got bit by some nasty little forest sprites and died that evening. The Montanets wanted Charlotte to heal her, but Charlotte was 8 years old and did not have that ability. All she could do was make pain easier. Make death easier, which was a blessing, but of course the parents were absolutely upset and the feud began there. So now that Eli knows that, the big crux of the matter is that Sammy hasn't been able to move on. She's she's not understanding that she's dead, and she doesn't understand why her mom and her dad cry sometimes, why everybody's upset and crying and yelling, and why Vivian and Charlotte aren't friends anymore, why they're yelling at each other constantly. And she keeps asking her mom to read her a bedtime story because she's so tired, but she can't sleep without that bedtime story. She can't sleep knowing that her family's upset, and she doesn't know why. She doesn't understand. But Eli, so she's asked Eli to help her, and Eli is at this point feeling exceptionally overwhelmed and very heartbroken after what she just witnessed, but she's going to do her best somehow, and somehow I had to fix it. Somehow, yeah, basically that, yeah. So that was that. Okay, so chapter 20, A Fickle Creature. Let's just jump into it, shall we? I spent Sunday hiding in my room, doing my homework, cleaning, reading up on griffins, anything to keep me from overthinking. Dim, the Coven, Samantha, Dracula's, what? Dracula, demons, Dad, Dim. It was too much. I was slowly being eaten alive by my own doubts, and I just wished that I could go back to a simpler time in life, where no one knew anything about that girl living in the attic. So much had changed, yet I still felt the same. No one approached my room or even texted me. I was well and truly alone. But of course Monday came and I had to be an adult again. So I got up and got a shower, then got dressed. I found myself in the kitchen, pouring a bowl of cereal, hoping the Lucky Charms could get me out of my funk. No such luck. As I sat down at the table, Jane and Alaric walked in, and immediately Alaric scowled in my direction. My stomach churned as I kept my eyes down. Jane yanked him forward, basically hauling him into the kitchen. Thanks to Charlotte's help, she was up and about, looking so much better. Jane was essentially the only one keeping the peace, acting as a buffer between the Coven and I as she spoke on my behalf, but I didn't want to make it any worse. We love Jane. Don't we love Jane? I love Jane. To be fair, I really do love all of them. Yes. Yes, even Alaric right now. But, I mean, yeah. I love my characters. Except for Ariana. I do not like her mother. She is my character. And I still want to kill her. Anyway. Morning, Eli, she chirped as she pushed Alaric towards the fridge, begging him to make her eggs and toast. Considering she was his cute, recently injured little sister, she didn't have to beg for long, and he got down to it with hardly a snarl in my direction. He still thought I had something to do with the demons, and who could blame him? They had no idea what happened to my dad, to my home, to my life. Not that I was willing to further their understanding at all. Look, dude, just talk to her. I'm sure she didn't explain what happened that night. Blake's voice reached my ears, and involuntarily I looked up as Blake and Chet stood there, uncomfortable looks on their faces. I heard Dim's door slam shut, and that did it. Trying really, really hard not to say or do anything I would regret, I put my unused spoon down beside the full bowl of marshmallows and gave everyone a tight smile as I snatched my bag up from Miss Chair. Anyone want my Lucky Charms? I'm late for class. I was getting really good at this lying thing and kept my head down the entire time as I practically ran to the front door. I'd just get a coffee and a muffin from that little cafe, I told myself. Ignoring the ache in my heart, I did exactly that and took it to the outdoor sitting area, trying to enjoy the morning breeze. People walked by, hurrying off to class as I sat there silently watching and picking the mushy blueberries out of my oversized muffin. They just didn't taste good this morning. I soon had a pile of the berries pushed aside, but I was still picking at my food, coffee untouched. I just didn't feel like eating even if I was hungry. Okay, coffee untouched, Eli, sweetie, that's a sin. That is an absolute sin. No. And that is just so stupid. Groaning myself, I put the muffin down and leaned back. I stared ahead, watching an elderly professor sitting on the edge of a mountain. Mountain? Fountain deeply engrossed in her book, occasionally throwing handfuls of birdseed at the pigeons pecking near her feet. What a simple life birds lead. They don't have to worry about their family, or their roommates, or the guy they may or may not have a crush on. They just fly around, foraging for food, enjoying life with no responsibilities. It must be nice, right? But as I sat there watching the birds, a pigeon flew down and took a small blueberry off the top of the pile. It was like a light bulb went off in my head. Of course. Why haven't I thought of this before? Claire always had animals in her pockets and around her neck. She was always muttering weird sounds under her breath anytime I saw her, often crooning to whatever creature she currently had on her. But now that I thought about it, those sounds, they were the sounds of an animal. Hisses for snakes, caws for birds, squeaks for mice. She could help me get that brooch. If I could just convince her to help me. We weren't exactly friends, but we were acquaintances. Maybe that would be enough. After herbology class, Claire and I walked together to her next class. So let me get this straight. You want me to help you steal a brooch. Moreover, our annoying dragon of a teacher's brooch? She asked me incredulously, stopping in the middle of the hallway. Shh, not so loud. And the word is recover. Not semantics, Eli. But essentially, yes, I admitted, biting the inside of my cheek as I looked at her desperately. She snorted and continued to walk. Anyone ever told you you're crazy, Bishop? 'Cause you are. I mean, do you have any idea how much trouble we will be in if we get caught? How would we even take it anyway? Why do you need my help? Even if she was humoring me, I jumped for the chance to further this conversation. Because you can talk to animals, can't you? I have an idea that might just be crazy enough to work. Hey! Protesting, Claire dragged me to a little corner, pushing me roughly into the wall. Her eyes, which I had never noticed, were a violent yellow, dazzled with barely restrained panic and anger. How did you know? She hissed, barely restraining herself from shaking me by the looks of her slightly shaking hands. I stared at her, blinking slightly from confusion. You just always are making animal sounds to them, and it looks like you are always having such a lively conversation. Why is it such a big deal that I know? She refused to look at me, instead checking her non-existent watch on her left wrist. Whatever. What time are we doing this thing? It was clear she was done with this conversation, but nevertheless I was curious. Be nice, respect her privacy. She hasn't asked any questions from you either. Can we meet here at 6 p.m.? And could you preferably bring a bird? She nodded, her eyes, such a bright yellow, lit up in understanding. She smirked, and I could tell she was already enjoying this. A magpie would be perfect for your plan. As for my payment, we'll discuss that later. Bye. And with that, the game's afoot. I've always wanted to say that for a plan of action. I also love Sherlock Holmes. Anyway, continue. Work came and went, uneventful. Ever since my Dracula trip, I hadn't had any more, thankfully. After that one, I needed a bit of a break. So I did my paperwork and pretended not to hear Simon's private conversation with my pop. He hadn't been around since that awful Halloween night aftermath. I learned from eavesdropping, like a naughty person, that he was retiring from the Foxtrot department. I had a smile on my face for the rest of the workday. Pop is retiring, by the way. Yeah. But that smile didn't stay on my face long as I entered my bedroom and changed into something more comfy. Yoga pants and a tank top were a girl's best friend, even in the middle of fall. I was that person who believed no sweatpants until winter, or if you're sick. I sighed tiredly, stretching and splashing my face with water. For once, I didn't have homework yet, seeing as it was just Monday. If all went well, in under 3 hours, I would have the brooch and could get on with my life. No more visions in class. I couldn't wait. Dude, are you sure you saw her come back? Stiffening, I narrowed my eyes at my reflection. Who was that? Yes, Seth, I told you I did. You never listen to me, brother. The voice answered the first, scoffing. Biting my lip, I listened carefully, doing my best to keep quiet. I was almost positive they were some of Dim's friends and not some crazy axe murderers, but the latter would be easier to deal with. Such a wimp. Should we even be here, Ben? I mean, she really hasn't done anything to us. What exactly are you saying? Maybe they are axe murderers. Maybe she's right and Demetria got attacked by the demon. A voice scoffed as my stomach suddenly cramped. Too bad I couldn't leave without passing them. I had too much pride to go invisible and leave either. At least that's what I was trying to tell myself. Or, summon a rift. I mean, she can't quite do that yet, but yeah. Dude, demons? Really? I mean, I get it. I kind of like her too. She's made Dimitri different. In a good way. But you know what's going on. He needs to know, and since he's too much of a chicken... You don't think she's in the bathroom, do you? Silence permeated the air, and I suppressed a giggle to spite myself. So I didn't quite... Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. She's in the bathroom, was my point. If she is, she'll have heard everything. ... Crap. Female Terminator? Are you in there? The bathroom door was cracked open, but I hadn't turned on the lights when I came in. So I straightened my spine and swung the door open, giving the two redhead twins a hard stare. Seth and Ben. Good to know. Yep. And you two are seriously cutting into my yoga time, so get on with it. I need to meditate all the stress away and regain my patience. Monotone voices work wonders for sarcasm. Oh, sorry. Let's see if I can do monotone. I don't think I can. Yep. And you two are seriously cutting into my yoga time, so get on with it. I need to meditate all the stress away and regain my patience. I don't know if that was monotone or not, but I tried. To their credit, neither of them fidgeted, just staring at me with identical gazes that made me want to fidget. Lovely. Did you do it? One of them said bluntly. I said nothing, instead trying to figure out if there was any facial identifier that I could use to tell them apart. The answer was no. Did you beat Dimitri's face in? Despite the fact that I was being wrongfully accused, again, it was nice to see Dim's friends cared. Dim's face wasn't beaten in. It was sliced right up the dang middle. And the answer is no. Look, guys, Dim and I, we were having a good time in that maze, okay? We were messing around, and it was pretty much the only time I had fun that night. We were running around the maze, he was chasing me because well, yeah. Then he wasn't there anymore, I found Jane, and we all got out to find all of you, and Dim out there with some sort of crappy prank idea. Dim wanted to come with me to find Cade. We found him and that demon. He had Cade by the neck, wanting to talk to me. Because of me, Dim got hurt. He ran up there, ready to fight for Cade's life, but the demon wanted him to run up. And there wasn't anything I could do about it. I was telling the truth. I ignored the scratchy lump in my throat and stared at the two of them earnestly. They both looked at me, then at each other. I find that hard to believe. You are more than capable of kicking his butt, and demons are just stupid and a childhood nightmare. Breathe in, breathe out. They are just being good friends. Demons are real. They are powerful, cunning, big jerks. I steadily stared at his eyes, speaking slowly. If I wanted to hurt or even kill him, I wouldn't have split his face. But why would I want to do that? They had no reply, and I felt like maybe, just maybe, they believed me. Maybe. Someone had to, after all. Right? Sighing, I kindly tossed them out and did that yoga, doing my best to not feel overwhelmed. I still had so much to think on, to plan for, yet could I actually do anything for them? Except for the brooch? Not really. I hated being able to do nothing. But when I am stressed, I do yoga. So that's what I did, doing my best to put the recent accusations out of my mind. Yeah, I should do more yoga. And when I say more, I mean just start. Claire was a few minutes late, but I disregarded this, instead staring at the biggest magpie I have ever seen. Its inky black talons digging into her shoulder, which was thankfully covered by a jacket. She had a phone pressed to her free ear and seemed very cross with whomever was on the other end. No, Mom, I didn't ditch. I am helping a friend with a project. Why is it so strange that I have a friend? No, she doesn't want to talk to you. Her name is Eli, Mom. No, it's not a guy. It's short for... She paused, looking at me desperately. Biting my lip, I whispered my actual name to her. It's Eliana. Next thing I know, she groaned as the bird cawed on her shoulder, to which I took a step back. You couldn't be too sure. Mom, yes, she is right here. No, you don't need to talk to her. We need to get started. We're on a bit of a time constraint. It was a last minute thing, Mom. I didn't mean to skip out on meeting with his fiance. I promise. Even I could tell that was a blatant lie. Fine, Mom. Passing it over now. Help me, she mouthed. Laughter bubbling up in my throat, I took the phone and pressed it to my ear. Hello? A lovely sounding woman started firing questions at me. Are you really a girl? Oh, are you two dating? I knew it! There is no project, is there? You two stop your canoodling and tell Clary to get her butt back here to meet her sister's future husband. Startled, I held the phone away from my ear, flinching slightly. Claire groaned silently, pacing in small circles. The big magpie flapped its silky wings a bit, smacking her upside the head. Ma'am, I am a girl, thank you, and we aren't, dating. Oh boy, that's awkward. Claire choked, whirling around, face crimson. Cue the face palms. Actually, she is helping me with a project of mine. It's kind of a big paper on animal anatomy for my veterinarian internship. It wasn't quite a bald-faced lie. She did have a giant bird perched on her shoulder after all, and I had an internship. Just not at a vet's office. It's due tomorrow, and we both have been super busy. So I'll just hand you back to Claire now. I have never tossed a phone away so quickly in my life. Her mother really knew how to lay down the awkwardness. Yeah. Claire snatched it from the air, speaking hurriedly into the receiver. Okay, Mom, gotta go. Love you, bye. She hit the end button, and we both took a breath. Sorry about that, she muttered sheepishly, throwing a hand through her hair. You good? I waved it away, shrugging. You're good. Are you really missing out on family dinner right now? We could have rescheduled or something, you know. Your mom sounded a bit mad. I actually used to get out of it. Otherwise, I would have ditched like she accused me of. Liz is awful, and her fiance is even worse. So, yeah. Anyway, what's the plan? Is she going to be walking around somewhere? We will probably need to hide somewhere. But we can get on the roof. Oh, and you'll just owe me a favor for this. Mainly because you got me out of dinner. She finished, walking away. She did that a lot. I rushed after her, continuing the conversation. Well, she usually goes to that cafe about this time. That south sidewalk. Every day she walks to that cafe, so it's probably her best shot. And I have no idea how to get on the roof. She turned around, walking backwards, and slowly smirked at me. Boy, she is a rebel. Oh, Eli, we really need to educate you. Throwing her arm around my shoulder, I was taller than her, so it felt weird. We walked on. We entered the classroom, and she opened the window, calling to the magpie before it flew off into the fresh air. Then we left the classroom and snuck outside, running hunched over to the deserted corner of the school where a tree was. From there, it was pretty straightforward, climbing and leaping up the tall tree, from there finding foot and hand holds in the school's exterior wall. A few minutes later, we sweat-coated my top lip as we laid beside each other on the nondescript roof tiles, conveniently spying on Professor Paris as she walked with her briefcase on the south sidewalk heading for the cafe. It was showtime. The magpie circled above and swooped down towards the professor. One loud caw and everyone dove away from the sidewalk, save for the professor, who screamed shrilly, futilely smacking the bird away. Both Claire and I flinched as the brooch ripped from her thick neck, that heavy briefcase barely missing the bird's tail feathers. Claire held her hand out to me, and we fist bumped, grinning. It was just great to see our hated teacher shrieking and running around like her pants were on fire. That's a weird space. Done spying, I slid down the slope of the roof a little, sliding on my butt now that we weren't in danger of being spotted. Claire joined me. So, what's the story behind this bridge anyway? You said it was dangerous. I nodded. So, I'm a traveler. We essentially go around finding and gathering dangerous artifacts that shouldn't be in society and keep them safe and out of the wrong hands. That brooch is one of them. My little daydreams in class, they're actually visions, memories of the brooch. People kill for that brooch, Claire. But the last one, it was awful. A man was wearing it and looked like a zombie. Skin was falling off. He was just melting. He was insane, just repeating himself over and over, talking about his money, his family's wealth, laughing about his enemy's accidental deaths that he caused. And he was praising that brooch the entire time. Claire's eyebrows raised and she whistled. So you watched him die? That's... ew. I shrugged, face twisting as I remembered, shuddering a bit. I wish I could say that I haven't seen worse, but I have. So that's why I needed your help. The magpie then decided to join us, the necklace clutched in its talons. Quickly, Claire held its wings, and I snatched the relic baggie, crinkled from my back pocket, and used it to carefully put the brooch inside of it without touching it. Then it was all said and done. The magpie flew off, and Claire and I climbed down, then left without a word. I owed her a favor, and that was that. It didn't take me long to get back to the dorm, and it took that long for the fact that I now possessed the brooch to sink in. I had done it! Oh, thank the Father. A big grin grew on my face as I jumped up the stairs, taking them 2 at a time, and for the first time this week, I felt light, almost happy. And that all came crashing down when I reached for the door and someone else opened it for me. All of the coven, Dim and his gang included, looked dressed to the nines. The younger kids had backpacks. We all stared at each other, frozen. Hi? I waved awkwardly, squishing the feeling that I should just turn around and walk away. Mainly because I needed to get through the herd. They were blocking the way to my room. All that answered me was scowls and angry glares. My happy relief went away pretty quickly. It was Jane who finally said something, as my heart sank when Dim didn't meet my questioning eyes. We, got invited to another coven's party. On a Monday night? Apparently they're the kids' administrative staff member, hence the school night party, and some of us are going to sleepovers too. She sounded excited, bobbing up and down, up a bit. And you're not invited, Madeline said snootily, shoving past me harshly. It was like someone flipped a switch, and all of a sudden everyone was walking past me, some sneering at me. I kept my face impassive, not showing the stupid feeling of hurt I had buried inside. Dim still hadn't looked at me, and I wondered if we were done before we even had a chance. Clover and Blake were bringing up the rear, and both nudged me a bit, but it wasn't in a harsh way, more of a friendly, hey, we're here kind of way. I stayed in the hall, listening to them chatter and laugh as they went down the stairs, until I sighed heavily, went inside, and closed the door. I guess we really are done. Poor Eli. Yee. Oh dear. Well, yeah, that is chapter 20, guys. Oof, poor Eli. She's got a lot going on, but hey, at least she got the brooch, right? She got the brooch. Everything can be okay if she got that brooch. We will keep telling ourselves. So yeah, overall, I kind of I liked this chapter. It was pretty good. Kind of short and sweet. At this point, it's just good for me because I am in full swing of doing my notes editing and whatnot. I have a lot of them, a lot, actually here, I think I can kind of show you guys. Well, haha! 7,000 words, 38,000 characters. This is just my phone. This is just stuff for my phone. This is a mix of planning for, Lost in Time, mainly for the second book, but there's a lot of things in the second book that I need to start, dropping hints and alluding to in the first. So, yeah. And eventually, when I get it all done, because I'm still typing up notes from my phone, and this is really hard for me to do, but last few days have been easier. And I just say that mentally. But, I'm gonna go through here and, like, cut and put it all in their own individual little note. As you can see up here, I've got one just for Eli. Like, this is just her basic everything, right? But this is actually obsidian, and I love it because you've got these little dots, and you can actually connect them with basic HTML coding. So eventually I will have one for pretty much everybody that's like big in the story. So this is going to be a lot of dots, as you can see. Different plot points, and I'm going to have some for for each chapter too, like chapter 1, chapter 2, So this is all going to be my planning. There's not a lot here right now because I'm still working on the phone notes, which is a lot. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, ooh, back to light. But yeah, anyway guys, that is gonna be it. Here's hoping I get a good chunk of the crocheting done. Part of it is wearing out. Part of it's some other stuff, and then the other is it is just really annoying to change colors right now like this. It's so annoying, but I didn't want to do magic knot all the time. I didn't want there to be magic knots everywhere in it, considering it's per line, so it just means it's going to be awful. But anyway, I will maybe see you guys next week for more of this, and we'll be reading chapter 21, Guilty Surprises. Anyway, have a great week, guys. Thanks for listening if you're got to this point, and thanks for providing me this space, this little safe space. I really need it, and I really appreciate it, so thank you. Have a great week. Bye.